are rolling. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris, and I am here to talk about YouTube today. Were any of you guys here for my UFO one? I don't know if anyone was here. You were, that's right. I talked UFOs last time I was here. So this time I'm talking YouTube. So I guess I'll do a quick, how many here have ever not used YouTube, don't know anything about what YouTube is or anything? All right, so we'll explain it all. How about you've been on YouTube because you clicked through like a link somewhere, right? Maybe in Google, and you click on something, it takes you to a video, and it takes you to YouTube. YouTube is basically, it's on the internet. There's applications. It's a platform where people can share videos. Basically, is how it started. So it's this huge platform that just has millions and millions of videos from rather normal people creating things on video to stations put little bits of their stuff, regular broadcast networks put stuff up. So we'll go through it all. By the end of it, you'll know all about it. All right, so YouTube and you. So a little bit about us. You guys may have either seen me here or Dave with Therapy Gardens. When I came on board, we kind of expanded. He expanded out to SeniorU because a lot of the stuff that I handle is outside of what Therapy Gardens. A lot of his stuff is food related, gardening related, whereas I bring in some technology and things like that. So SeniorU, they're just two parts of a whole, so that's all. So you may see programs going on here, and it might say Therapy Gardens and it may say SeniorU, but it's always going to be us. All right, so today what we're going to talk about, we're going to review the basics of what YouTube is, kind of get you to understand what it is, demonstrate how you manipulate it, how you sign in, how you use it, how you might do some topic searches, and how you can save videos to watch later, how you can subscribe to channels and creators. It's not scary. It just means that you follow them, basically. And just go over some other things about YouTube and demonstrate it. This is part of a larger conversation I get asked about a lot about cutting the cord. Right? I think, is anyone here because they kind of are looking at this as an option for depending less on cable TV? Is anyone that? I get that sometimes. All right. We can talk about that. There's challenges to that, only in that to get to all this stuff, you need the internet. Just like a few moments ago when we were trying to get everybody on the Wi-Fi. Without the internet, a lot of this stuff you can't use. And right now, in a lot of areas, the cable company is the main way you're going to get your internet. So that's why there's a challenge. That's not to say there aren't ways of doing it and we can talk about it. Just because we're talking about YouTube, feel free to with questions. Don't feel like you have to confine yourself to YouTube. If you have a question that's in that realm of cutting the cord, I'm always happy to help. But we'll go through and see what's what. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about YouTube first. All right. It's a video sharing social media platform. It was founded in 2005. 3 guys came together and realized in the earlier days of the internet, I wouldn't say 2005 was super early, but sharing videos and things in 2005 on the internet was kind of frustrating. It was a lot of waiting. Like if you wanted to download something from the internet, there was a piece of music. Before 2005, it would take forever. It was getting faster, and so this company started up called YouTube where it says we can let people come on and they can share videos. A year later, Google bought them for $1.65 billion. They had only existed for 1 year, and they bought Google. Google bought them, and YouTube is the second most visited website in all of the internet after Google. Google is number 1. Everybody visits Google on the internet. The number 2, though, is YouTube. Over 2 billion people log into YouTube monthly. Now, that's not to say, because you can use YouTube without logging in, but they know that 2 billion people log in monthly. More than that use it without logging in, and we'll talk about that. About more than 500 hours of video are uploaded every minute to YouTube. Think about that, 500 hours. The amount of video on YouTube is mind-blowing. So the reason why we want to bring this and let you all know about it is there's so much out there to enjoy. You might sit down to watch TV and you might flip through all your expensive cable channels, and at the end of it, you just can't find something you like. But on YouTube, there's all sorts of stuff. There's regular people creating stuff, which is good, but there's also stuff, you can probably find stuff that is old sitcoms. And we'll go through some demonstrations and I'll show. So while we go through this, just think in your head, when we get to the demonstration part, I would love to be able to take some suggestions from you. So be thinking in your head of some topic that you might say, I would love to know if there's videos out there, whether it be old shows. Just be thinking about it, and we'll go through. It's available in over 100 countries and supports more than 80 languages, covering 95% of the internet population. YouTube is just a huge. One more, welcome. You haven't, two more. Come on in. You haven't missed too much. We're just talking a little bit about what YouTube is. Okay, so YouTube accounts. Everything I'm talking about here today to use YouTube is 100% free. There are options on YouTube to pay for various things, but you don't need to. You can log on to YouTube. You can go onto YouTube. You don't even need to do anything. You could just start watching videos and clicking on things and putting in things in the search. You don't even have to log in. You could just use YouTube. There's reasons why you might want to log in, and we'll talk about that, but all of this is free. So that's what the first thing that I want to make sure everybody knows is that you'll encounter things that may want to, if you sign up to this or you do this, avoid it all. You want to stick to the free. And YouTube generally is considered safe. There's not going to be a lot of objectionable material on YouTube. And usually when it gets up there and somebody puts it up, like I said, 500 hours get uploaded to YouTube by all sorts of people all the time. But they do a really good job of curating it. So it's unlikely you're going to encounter anything, really bad on YouTube because it's owned by Google. So it's just good to know that there's a safer area of the internet. So how do the people on YouTube who put all these videos out, how do they make money? In most cases, they don't. Honestly, most people who produce content for YouTube, a lot of people do it just because. Some make money. What happens is if a creator's putting out lots of videos on YouTube, once they have 1,000 people subscribing to their channel on YouTube, which just means that 1,000 people have signed up and said, I want to follow what this person is doing. And once you have 4,000 hours of your videos having been watched by whoever, creators start to get a little slice of the advertising revenue. It's not a lot, but they get some. And there's various ways for creators to make money. Basically on YouTube, you have a small amount of people making a good amount of money. You have a larger pool of people who make little or no money. And that's how it is. But a lot of people use it for promotion. So there is, like I said, people create content to put on YouTube, but also you're going to find things that have just been out there as far as old movies might be on there, old TV shows might be on there. Sports channels will put up highlights of games and things like that. So I guarantee that no matter what your hobbies and stuff are, I guarantee that everyone in this room will be able to go on YouTube and find things to watch, which will very much amuse you. All right. I'm just going through this, and when I get to the demonstration part, I'm going to show you. So don't feel like you have to remember every piece of it. But basically, all you need to do is go on a computer. You can go to youtube.com. On your smart TV, I don't know if you have a smart TV. They might be an app. Those apps, there's a Netflix app, and there's an app for every little thing. Hulu. You probably have an app on your smart TV that is a YouTube app. So that's another way of getting on YouTube. You can use YouTube on your tablet or smartphone. There's an app for that. And also on your cable box. If you have regular cable, when you hit the button on your cable box to navigate around, there are apps on your cable box as well. You can get into Netflix and things like that from your cable box. You can get into YouTube. So YouTube can be get into from a computer or any kind of device. As I said, you can always use YouTube without signing in. You don't have to sign in. The reason why I encourage it is for a couple of reasons. One is that if you sign in, YouTube starts to remember. One, it remembers what you like and what you don't. What video did you click on and watch 2 seconds of it, shut it down, move on, and never come back? It knows. What videos did you watch the whole thing? And you might have even interacted with the video in a positive way. And what it does is it learns what you like, and it tries to deliver more of it. It tries to say, oh, you watched this and this and this and this. You might like this thing. And that's why it's good to sign in, is because it starts to actually kind of get a sense, and it'll suggest things, and it'll make the whole process easier. After a while of using YouTube, you won't have to go on and search for things to look for. It'll have all sorts of things to suggest based on what you've watched previously. Another good reason to sign in is that you could start watching something, say, on your phone. And, oh, this is really long. I'm tired of looking at this little screen. And you shut it down and you go and you log into the YouTube application on your TV. And you're logged into both. It now remembers that you were watching this thing. Would you like to continue watching it? And you can watch it on a different device. So it's really nice. I'm frequently getting out of my car and I'm listening to something on YouTube. YouTube is mostly videos, but that doesn't mean a lot of times it's just people talking. So I could be driving and listening to people talk. And I might get to home and then I can just walk in the house. I can turn on my TV, go to my YouTube app, and finish watching whatever it was I was watching in my car. So it's very useful. You can't do that with cable. And that's why, you know, as I said, you can use YouTube without logging in all day long. It's just a good idea. Because it's owned by Google, you can feel safe about doing that. You know, I know that a lot of places out there on the internet want your email address, want your information. It's good to be, you know, cautious of these things. But I just want to reinforce that when you're interacting with YouTube, you're interacting with something owned by Google, so it tends to be on the safer side. Is everybody following along so far, kind of? Cool. Do you all think if you went home right now, could you find YouTube on your TV or on your computer? Or, like, do you think you could get into YouTube? If this ended right now, could people walk out and go youtube.com? And, all right. I really want you to take that from this is play around on YouTube. You won't regret it. Okay. Let's show you some content. So when you're looking for things on YouTube, you can search by the topic. And again, I'll demonstrate all this when we get to the second half. But you could, you know, if you like golf, you might type in, or you might baseball, or old cars, or cooking, or this, that, or the other thing. So you could just put, or if you know a specific creator, you know that there's a person out there named this and they do this particular thing, you can search by them. But you can also filter searches. You can, how recently it was uploaded. You might be looking for something and you might say, I only want it if it was in the last month. You know, you might, you know, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but you might, you know, search for something and you might say, I want to filter this search because I don't want anything that was up 5 years ago. I want it to be more recent. Or you might filter a search by length and you might say, I want something quick. I want a how-to video on how to do a particular thing. There's tons of those out there. You might say, make it under 5 minutes because I don't want to sit through an hour for how. So there's a lot of filters. So you can find exactly what you're looking for. And there's something called a watch later feature. If you're logged into YouTube and you find a video you want to watch, you don't have to watch it right there. You can just click a little save button. It puts it on your watch later. And that way, when you're looking to sit down and watch stuff, you can go to your watch later and see all the things listed that you saved. And that way you can go through. Again, I'll be demonstrating all this. So
do you need to have an account to do the watch later?
You do need to be logged in because otherwise there's nothing for it to attach the watch later. If you're not logged in, it'll immediately try to get you to sign in. You know, and if you're reluctant because you're like, I don't want to get, there's nothing wrong with opening up a secondary, like if you don't use Google, Gmail, open up a Gmail account. They're free. And then you can log into YouTube. But it's very easy to log in with Google because Google owns YouTube. So it just makes it all very easy. And then you can have that email address and then you don't have to worry about that. So if you're cautious about that and you don't want to necessarily log in with your email address that you use everything, maybe open up a secondary Gmail account. As I said, they're free and you can just have another one that you use just for that purpose. So topics that you can find on YouTube. Really, it's hard to list because you can find everything. News, but be careful. I mean, that goes without saying. Most of the regular news outlets that we know of all have some sort of presence on YouTube, whether it be NBC News, ABC News, CBS, Fox News, MSNBC. They all have a presence on YouTube, so you can find that. You can also find other news. It's just, we always say be careful because it's very easy nowadays to look. You can see something on YouTube and it will look very slick and it will look very, like, it might look like something you turn on TV and see on like channel 7, 4, 5, or 7, the nightly news. And it might look very official, but it's easier nowadays to have that official look. So if you're getting news from, just buyer beware. That's all we want to say. Plenty of food stuff. Oh my God, you can find cooking shows on YouTube. You can find people demonstrating, and I'll show you a little bit of that, on how to make certain things. If there's ever a puzzle of let's say you're trying to make something, cook something, and you've never done it before, odds are you'll find a YouTube video that somebody did it and filmed themselves do it and they'll take you through. Almost anything. I had to put together some furniture, the how-to, And I didn't know how to do it, and the instructions were incomplete, and I went on YouTube and I put in the actual model of the it was a fireplace that I was trying to put together, and I found somebody who, for whatever reason, I can't say why, they had the same exact one, and they filmed each part and explained it well. And they have this channel just where they would just occasionally put things together and film it, and it was so helpful. Exercise, fitness, and mind kind of stuff. You can find a lot of stretching and exercise videos and meditation and stuff like that. Travel. There's a lot of travel videos that people put up, and general entertainment. Literally, you can find anything on YouTube. Now I'm going to give you some suggestions. Not really suggestions of just here's an example of what's out there. I made my own. When Dave would do this presentation, he had his own. I have one holdover from his list, but I've kind of started establishing my own. So and this is just an example to kind of show you what is out there. So there's an 87-year-old widow named Shirley Curry who got into playing video games. As crazy as that sounds. And so she would film herself, like stream herself playing this video game, and literally thousands upon thousands of people. She has 1.26 million people who follow her on YouTube. And there's a game called Skyrim, which is a very open game where you can just wander around doing stuff, and it's beautiful to watch. And she just films herself going through, and she chats with the people. She calls all her viewers her grandchildren, and people tune in to watch her do this. And it is amazing that she, like I said, 1.26 million people subscribe to her and watch her. She definitely gets some revenue from that. I found a place called Fanboy Films where they put together videos of, for whatever reason, I got into thinking about, remember the late night TV when Johnny Carson was leaving, and David Letterman, and he had put together, this Fanboy Films had put together this huge kind of like a documentary almost on that whole event, using footage from the time. So it was really amazing where he would just show different clips from different news things to tell a very compelling story of how that whole episode went down. And then he did it again for the Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno thing. So he does a lot of Fanboy Films follows like late night TV. I'm trying to think of what his Tom Snyder, that's right. I watched a whole video about the Tom Snyder show. But anyway, so that I found very interesting. So you can go down these rabbit holes where you can get on YouTube, and all of a sudden you start delving into something in the past, like something that, of history of TV. And because there's just so much video out there, it's amazing. So this is the only holdover I had from Dave's list, which is this Buona Petiti. She has 1 million subscribers. She's an old Italian grandmother who cooks authentic Italian meals and kind of takes you through the whole process. And I found that so interesting because there's a lot of cooking ones out there, but when you watch her videos, again, just the way she interacts, everybody has their own little way to do it. There are, this is just 3 suggestions of what's out there, but the variety of what you can find, literally, there's so much out there. You can also find, like I said, the legitimate channels, the established channels, like the Food Network, the History Channel, streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, Golf Channel, they all put stuff out on YouTube. Almost everybody, even if they have their own competing streaming service, which most things do, like Netflix and Hulu, they still put their stuff out on YouTube because they want to give you a taste of it. Maybe you'll watch something. Maybe you'll watch an episode of a Netflix show that they'll put the whole episode out there, and maybe you'll be intrigued enough to say, I want to watch this on Netflix, so it'll get you to get Netflix. So you can find entire episodes of TV shows out there, and it doesn't mean you have to subscribe to Netflix. So a lot of times they'll just put stuff out. So just a word about money. YouTube creators, when you subscribe to a channel, and I'll show you how this works, no money is taken in. You're just following them. But there are other types of paid subscriptions, and creators will often say, you can subscribe to me here. I tell people, if you really want to help these creators, share their things, like their things. Like them, there's a little thumbs up button, and like that, share it. That's how you can give back to creators. Don't feel like you ever have to like dip into your pocketbook for stuff. I mean, if there's some creators that I do support because I watch them all the time, but as you're dipping your toe in, don't ever feel compelled to do it. If someone is really, you're like, I like this creator, I want to help them out, share their stuff. That's the best way you can do. You don't have to bring out real money. You can just help get their stuff out there, and they'll like that. Some creators use services. There's something called Patreon where you can literally, it's a separate service where you can pay someone a certain amount each month. And there's sometimes places will say, hey, give me $1 a month because I can give you access to special content and things like that. Avoid it. I just say stick to the free stuff. Don't pay for anything. YouTube does a great job of making sure that any scams don't last long, but that doesn't mean that there aren't ones that slip through. So just keep that in mind. That should be in your mind always when interacting with the internet, is to just don't ever, if it starts to feel weird, log off. But let's see. All right, be skeptical of people asking for personal information or money. Health fads, things like that, opinion and propaganda, radical positions, politics commentary, and online recruitment. Again, as I say over and over, YouTube does a decent job of tamping down on this stuff, but that doesn't mean that stuff doesn't slip through. So just always keep your antenna up. Too good to be true, it usually is. Okay, other information. So as I said, you can log on to YouTube on your phone. And when we're done here, if anybody wants help, I can stay around for a few and help you kind of get situated if you're on your devices or whatnot. There is a YouTube paid service. You don't really need it. Honestly, the only thing it gives you is the ability to like download stuff onto your phone. It's most of what I'm talking about, all of what I'm talking about here today. Do not pay a penny to YouTube to use it. It's totally free. Liking and commenting, that's how you interact with the videos. The videos will, a lot of times under the video, there's a little like thumbs up button. And if you are watching it and you're like, I'm enjoying this, just hit the little thumbs up. And that's just your way of saying, hey, I really liked it. That's what tells YouTube, hey, let's show more of it. It also notices how much of the video you watch. Commenting is, like Facebook. If anybody here been on Facebook a lot, you can put little comments and so forth. Same thing with every video on YouTube, there's comments. Most people don't interact with them. It's funny, you'll see a video that'll have, you could see a video that'll have 500,000 views, and very few people think to like it or comment on it, only because there's so many ways to interact with YouTube now. Some people are on their TVs. Some people are on their phones. Some people are on their tablets. So you don't have to interact with the video, but it's an option. The YouTube algorithm is basically how YouTube knows what you like and what you watch. And like I said, it kind of I know it can sound scary that it kind of keeps track, but it's in a good sense in this way, because it's trying to bring you more of what you like. And it can also link YouTube with your other social media. So if you're a Facebook user, from YouTube, you can say, hey, I want to share this out to my Facebook, and you can link the two. So it takes you right through. So that way you can share videos onto your Facebook that you liked. And things to avoid, pitfalls and things to avoid is just all the stuff we talked about before, anybody who's trying. So any questions before we get to a demonstration of sorts? I know that's probably where you're all chomping at the bit. Any questions?
Can anybody upload, make a video and upload it?
As soon as you register on YouTube, you could theoretically upload videos, and people do for all sorts of reasons. It's actually fun, kind of, if you have a special interest that you like, that you enjoy doing. Look into it. I mean, it's anyone can totally, like it with the woman Shirley. It's just one day she just was bored and she liked video games, and she said, what happens if I go on YouTube and just start showing videos of myself playing? You wouldn't think that would be a thing. Do you know what's here's a weird snapshot into something that's out there now. A lot of people make videos on YouTube of them watching something. So somebody will make a video of them watching something, and other people will watch them watching it, because I know it sounds weird, but in a weird way, people love it when someone else watches. Like if somebody has a favorite show, they love it when somebody else is introduced to their favorite show, and they love seeing somebody else discover for the first time what they've always loved. And so it's this thing that's like, now there are people creators on YouTube who literally, that's their job. They get up every day and they sit down and they film videos of themselves watching various things. And they put it up on YouTube, and other people watch them watching it. And it is the strangest thing. Yeah, I know. Could you ever imagine that? Anyway, that is the thing. I did this one here a few weeks ago, a few months ago, maybe. Time is irrelevant now. But I always want to just promote my UFO talk, but that's all. All right, so we ready to check out some content? All right, so let me bring you over here. So as you can see, when you open up YouTube, we're not logged in here, and I'm just going to play around with it, not logged into anything. Since this is not my computer, I won't be able to log in easily. But you can search for something. So did anyone think of an interesting topic, something that hey, let's talk about it, you know, like something interesting? Anything? How about classic TV sitcoms? I don't know. How about 60s?
Radio too.
60s, television, TV sitcoms.
I know this one girl that I follow, she does a lot of
So I just put in 60s TV sitcoms, and you can find all sorts of things. But let's say I started looking at this, and I suddenly was like, let's see, oh my God, name that. Yeah, at a certain point, when stuff has been around long enough, it's obviously some of these old TV shows, there's no TV station that's going to pay to broadcast these, you know, because it's just they've been gone for so long. So a lot of stuff that is open domain is out on YouTube. You can find a lot of old TV shows and from the beginnings of TV, when TV used to turn off at a certain point. So,
I know, right?
So does open domain work sort of like copyright?
Yeah, kind of. Open domain, it just means at a certain point, when something becomes a certain point, it becomes open domain, meaning that nobody can hold the copyright on it. A lot of old books and movies to a certain, really old. All right, so that's one thing. If you like music, how about a how-to video? So let's say, this is one I want to show just because it's... I don't know. How to switch fridge door. I found this out some time ago that you can, for refrigerator, apparently you can change the side the door's on. And I was curious. And people make instruction videos to show you. So how to reverse fridge door stop. So let's say I wanted to watch this video. All right. But let's say I was like searching for this video here. And I said, all right, that's good. But I don't want to. I start watching it. And let's see, I'll just click the button on it. What is this thing? There we go.
This is incredible tour.
So sometimes you have to sit through an ad.
No, I've seen that.
On a lot of videos, if you hit it, it'll play an ad. A lot of times, very shortly, the ad will play, and then in the lower right-hand corner, it may say skip ad, and that just means sometimes you have to actually sit through the whole ad. It all depends on what the advertiser paid.
Customized and see $652.
So once you can get past that point,
this is the fastest phone charger on the market. There's a 90% chance your phone is already infected with this. There's a new groundbreaking discovery that's reversed.
So a lot of these ads, they're always going to try to let's skip past them.
The skip ads goes away really quickly, though. You got to be fast.
Yes, and sometimes depending on the ad, sometimes they pay a little bit more, so you can't skip the ad. So that's why. So if there's ever an ad that they make you sit through the whole thing, it's because who's ever paying for the ad said, no, I want it, so they have to sit through it. But let's say you start watching this, and I say, okay, but now I want to save it, because I don't have time now, right? So all right, I start watching this. Sorry, these controls on this laptop are not what I'm used to, and it's, all right, so I'm just going to start it for a second. Come on. There we go. So you can save it. So if I was logged in, you could hit save, and it would save it to your watch later list. You can share it out there on Facebook or anything. So if I hit share, it'll say, do you want to share it on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that? So you can share a video. You can also see this little subscribe button here. So if you're watching a video and you're like, oh, I like what this person, whoever's puts the videos up, whatever the thing is. See how it wants to constantly get me to sign in, because that's how you can do a lot of these things. It won't let me sign in on this computer though, because my computer remembers all. Now, when you click through to this is someone's, do it yourself with Joe. So this is his page. So on his page, let me get back into it. Where is it? Sorry, when you're using a computer that you're not familiar with, every time I press something, it seems to do something different. All right, so I'm going to go to do it yourself, Joe. Come on. There we go. So yeah, so you can see when somebody has a creator has their page, you can subscribe to them, you can see all their videos and so forth and see what, sorry, this is not working really well. All right, so is there anything, this thing is driving me nuts. It's like every time I click on it, that seems to want to do something different. There we go. All right, I'm not going to try to Is there anything else I can show you? Sorry, this presentation went a little bit off the rails with the technology. Oh my God, this laptop constantly wants to do something. But is there anything that I didn't get to, or anything that you say I still don't know how to do? Yes.
What does it look like when you have a subscription? If you have a subscription?
Yeah. When you subscribe to something.
Where are you doing it?
I'm just gonna create. Can I create? No, I guess I can't. All it will look like. Actually, wish I could show on my laptop.
Does it look the same as?
It looks exactly the same. The only difference. Yeah, the only difference is, let me go to where YouTube is. Come on. Oh my goodness, this laptop.
So once you're on YouTube and you start subscribing to different channels, when you go to the search bar, this channels that you subscribe to will start popping up.
When you go to, see on the left-hand side here where there's a subscriptions, see here, right here on the left-hand side? Where it says home, depending on what you're on YouTube on, if you're on your phone, it'll look a certain way, but there'll always be something that'll be a button that'll say subscriptions. Like here, it's on the left-hand side over here. If you're subscribed to a lot of things, when you click on subscriptions, it'll list all your subscriptions. So if you click on subscriptions, anyone you've subscribed to, those are the videos it'll show, and it'll have all the people you've subscribed to, and you can unsubscribe too. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes if I'm following a certain creator, I'll subscribe to them, and then after a certain time, I just don't, my interests move on, and I don't, and I notice I'm still subscribed to them. I try to stay on for as long as I can, only because, again, that helps the creators. That's the way you can really give back to creators, is if you like something they do, subscribe to them on there. That's just you saying, I'm going to follow along with them, and it means something to YouTube that you clicked on that. So you're not paying anything. The word subscribe in the sense on, yeah, it was a poor word to use because most people, in their mind, a subscription is something you pay for. And there are actually elements of subscribing to things. There's nothing on YouTube, though, that's just going to charge you. Like if you click on something and there is a paid component to it, it's going to take you to another screen where it's going to say, okay, now enter your credit card number. So don't be afraid on YouTube. Don't think that you're going to click on the wrong button and suddenly someone's going to charge you something. That cannot happen. Yes?
Yeah, sometimes like when you go to a certain channel, it'll say subscribe or join. Subscribe is free. Join is
what they have. You can join. Yeah, as I said before, as far as most things on YouTube, you're not going to get sucked into anything with money. And if they're asking for money, just don't. Just until you're more familiar. Like I said, I do to some degree. I support some creators financially. Not a lot. There's a couple of them I subscribe to and literally pay $1 a month because I like what they put out there. But I tell people, don't do that unless you're really comfortable. You can do a lot for free. All right.
So
any other? Yes.
If you subscribe to something, do you get a notification that they have that they post?
Yes. When they post a new video, you'll get a little. It'll just. Those will tend to be the videos that come up. So if you're subscribed to a lot of channels and you open YouTube, those will tend to be the videos that you'll see on the main. Whatever your people you're subscribed to, whatever they put up lately, and then it might have another section of like, here's some other things you've never. That you don't know about that we're suggesting to you. But the more of things you subscribe to, again, more YouTube's just going to know that's what you like, so it's going to bring you those things.
But it stays on the YouTube, like it doesn't email you.
No, it depends if you're signed up for it. I shut off all notifications, but like most things, like if you sign up to YouTube, probably initially, like if you go on there, it may send you emails occasionally, but you can very easily in the email say unsubscribe from this or not subscribed in the first place. I mean, it goes without saying nowadays, whenever you're interacting on the computer and you're about to put your email address in, stop and look very carefully because a lot of times they'll have like a box that'll say, yes, send me 18 emails a day, and it will be pre-checked. So you got to always remember when you're putting your email address in, until you hit that button, look for something that says, I want to uncheck this box. I don't want you emailing me all the time because I'm sure this happens to you, right? The more that your email address gets out there, I have entire email accounts that my Comcast account is just completely full of. Every day there's like 100 things that go in there. None of it is useful to me. It's all just junk. And I unsubscribe. But as fast as I can unsubscribe, I use my Comcast email address as like remember I said open up an email address, like if you want to interact with the web and you kind of don't want to have it go into your regular stuff, open up a Gmail account. I use my Comcast account for that. Anytime you're required to put an email address in, I put my Comcast account because I don't care. Whereas my Gmail one that is for my own personal stuff, I'm more selective of who I give that one to. So it's something you can do out there. You can create another Gmail account or whatever it is and just use that. All right. I don't have any more to show you. It's very kind of hard interacting with this, but unless anybody has any questions, and if anybody wants to come up and I can show you some things on your own device if you want to see. But is there any other questions before we wrap up?
Nope.
Sorry, I kind of went off the rails. I hope. Did you feel like you got something out of this? Yes. I'm sorry. I thought you had a question. Sorry. All right. Cool. Well, that is all, I guess.
Very much.
Thank you. Sorry it didn't quite go to plan, but I'll hang around a little bit as I unpack. If you have questions for me, please feel free. And like I said, if you haven't interacted with YouTube much, go home and play around with it. You'll get sucked in. You'll get sucked into what's called the YouTube rabbit hole, where you're just like, oh, I think I'll sit down and watch a few videos, and then you look and you're like, oh my, I missed 3 meals. It'll happen.